Yo, this is Mike from the Unpopular Opinion Baskets Way podcast, bringing you a part two from the first video.
Tonight we're gonna get my husband's perspective. You might hear some chicken frying in the background. He cooking his fried chicken with his homemade bang bang sauce. The baby screaming, she excited. She's such a happy baby. But anyway, let's get into it. We had been together for 8 years and married for one when I got pregnant. And I didn't want nobody to know I was pregnant. But of course you told a few people. And I know they was, happy for you. Assuming that we were happy because we had been together for so long. We was having a baby. And I'm at home feeling like life isn't worth living. So how did that make you feel?
I honestly knew that everything was gonna be okay at the end. I knew it was my job to take care of you and to make sure that you were good in what you were going through, and basically to make sure that the household was taken care of. I felt like as your husband, as your safety net, that it was just my job to encourage you and make sure that you knew that it was a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, how did you feel? How did you feel emotionally being that you had to take on so much?
I didn't. I was in pain just like you were in pain. It was hard to see my wife in that type of condition, but at the same time, I knew that I had to stand up and do my thing as your husband. I mean, we both couldn't fall apart. I believed and I prayed that everything was going to be fine, and I always believed that everything would be fine. You just had to endure that hard time, go through what it was that you had to go through, but I knew that it was going to be fine. So it hurt my heart to see you hurt like that, and some days it just broke my heart. But I just kept my eyes on our beautiful baby. I just knew that everything was gonna be fine in the end, and everything, and I just kept my faith in God, and I stayed prayed up, and I just knew that everything was gonna be fine.
You had to do a lot. I'm not sure if another man would be willing to take on all those responsibilities that you had to do. Like I said, you had to go to work, you had to come home, you had to clean the house, you had to cook, you had to get me dressed, you had to give me a bath, you had to wash and blow dry my hair, you had to paint my toes when they needed to be painted. I couldn't put my own shoes on. I mean, you basically had to do everything. I mean, you can't just don't just tell me that you just felt like you done what it is that you needed to do.
I mean, of course, some days it got frustrating. I mean, at times when you were sick, it made me angry. Sometimes, I'm a human being, and at times it made me mad. Like, I used to be feeling like, why is my wife going through this? You know what I'm saying? Like, it did make me mad, but I am a natural provider. My father raised me to be a man. My father raised me to be a provider. And I feel like at all costs, it didn't matter if you were pregnant, if you were sick, it don't matter what's going on. Not just pregnancy. I mean, Lord forbid anything ever happens, but that's my job as the man of the house, to do the things that need to be done. I mean, if that's cooking, if that's cleaning, if that's doing whatever it is that need to be done, I'm not above any of that. If I'm the king of my castle, then that means even the king of the castle got to sweep the floor sometime. I mean, I'm not the type of man who feels like that because I'm a man, I don't need to sweep the floor. I don't need to wash the clothes. I don't need to clean the bathroom or do none of that. I mean, I was forced to be grown at an early age. So all of these things I was forced to do from the time I was 14 years old. So it's nothing that I feel is unnatural for me to have to do. So just simply you being sick just never came to my mind that I was doing too much. I mean, I felt like all of this stuff was necessary, and I would do it 100 more times if need be.
Yeah, you saying you cleaning the bathroom just brought back some gruesome memories. You know, the bathroom was nasty for me throwing up 20 times a day. And I can remember the times when I was using the bathroom, urinating on myself and throwing up at the same time. Like, you had a lot of responsibility. And I really appreciate you. And as long as we've been together, I always knew you had my back. But I never forget that day when you was giving me a bath. And you told me, you said, baby, you said, I'ma always take care of you. And you told me you love me. And I didn't respond. And a lot of times when you told me you loved me, I didn't tell you I loved you back. How did that make you feel?
You can't expect for somebody in distress to be in a place um to be endearing. Like, it was my job to, at that point in time, to lift you up because you were going through so many things. I knew you loved me. I mean, I don't have a reason to think that you didn't love me. I knew that you loved me, but I knew you were going through so much at the time. You were so weak. It was just so much going on that maybe you weren't in the headspace to be talking all of that sentimental stuff. It was just me trying to let you know that regardless of what it is that's happening, that I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to make sure you straight. I never look for a response in you telling me I love you too. I mean, I already know that's the case.
Amara, can you stop yelling? That's real. And it wasn't that I didn't want to tell you that I loved you back. I couldn't because I was so weak. And a lot of times I didn't talk. And I really felt sorry for you because we went weeks where we didn't talk. You would call me and check on me from work, and I wouldn't say much. So, and then it got to the point where you understood to just ask me, are you good? Do you need anything? And I would say yes or no. And, that'll be the end of the conversation. Even when you came home, like, the only things I said was if I needed something, or if I said I got to throw up, or if I said bath, which meant I was ready to take a bath. Like, I really didn't feel like talking. And, once I got well, I made up. I told you, I said, baby, I thank you for taking care of me the way you did. And I'm sorry I didn't respond a lot of the times. And, it was plenty of times where I prayed and asked God to give you the strength. Because I knew that you was going through something. I knew that you was, even though you wasn't showing it in front of me. In front of me, you were very strong and you was taking it well. But I know you, and I know that seeing your wife like this was taking a toll on you mentally. Just as well as my mom. Like, when she would come by and she would pray for me, she would go to her car and cry because I looked so terrible. Like, I really was looking like I was feeling like I was a inch away from death. And the pregnancy has taught me a lot. Like, I have learned to be grateful, to thank God every day when you feel good. We take so many things for granted. We take health for granted. We take people for granted. We take life for granted. Like, if you can get up and put your own clothes on, you need to be thankful. If you can get up and take a sip of water and taste a cracker, you need to be thankful. I remember one day at the hospital when I had to go to get some fluids, and I saw one of the nurses drinking out her cup. And I felt so sad and empty because I couldn't even keep water down. So, small things like that, of me looking at somebody drinking something and knowing that I couldn't, it hurt me some kind of bad. And so, it was definitely a eye-opening situation. And I like what you said about you being the king of your castle and taking care of home. Because when I was younger and was pregnant by my boyfriend and had this same condition, HG, he left me in the hospital for dead. So I definitely applaud you for being a good man, a damn good man, for taking care of me like I needed to be taken care of.
I would just say thank you. With that being said, I would say thank you. But this is just my opinion on men. I mean, to the men. This is my message to men. I'm not here preaching to nobody or to tell anybody anything like I'm above anyone. But if you are thinking about being married, or you want to be married, or you're going to marry a woman, you have to be prepared to wipe her ass when she can't. There is nothing, no limits to what you should do for a woman. If you can't look at a woman and feel like that there is absolutely no limits to what it is that you should do for this woman when the time comes, then maybe you don't need to be married, because there's going to be some times in your marriage where you are going to question some things. But that's the reason why this is a union in the eyes of God, because you have to overcome all things and you have to be strong in your marriage. There is absolutely nothing that you should look at your woman and feel like that you won't do if this is your wife, and vice versa. Because when you're married to someone, you never know what's going to happen. They could be sick. They could, I mean, Lord forbid, car accidents. There's so many things in this world that could happen to your spouse, that they may not be able to walk. They may not be able to talk. All of these things, anything could happen. If you can't look at this person and feel like in any situation, you are going to do what it takes to make sure that they are good, maybe you may need to reconsider being married. And that's just my message to men.
That's real, and you would think that everybody know that, but unfortunately they don't. I was in support groups for what I was going through, and it was a lot of unsupportive husbands, and it's sad because I most definitely couldn't have made it to the end without you. And like I said, another thing about one thing I've learned about, even when you're pregnant spiritually, and it can go for a man or a woman, when you pregnant, when God gives you a vision and you're going through a hard time, it's hard and you can't see it, and you have to endure. Like, you can't skip the steps. You have to go through the hardships to get to the promise, and you really have to be patient with the process. And so, with that being said, I just have one more question. So, I got well and was able to, get out the house and stuff. So, how did you feel with me being well and you still had to feed me every 2 hours? Like, every 2 hours I was hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, that got a little rough at times, I mean, I became a good cook. Yeah. Daddy became a good cook. Mama ate all the time. All the time. She was just eating up everything. But, I mean, I was just so happy to see you eating versus what you went through. So, it wasn't, I was just happy that you were eating, period. I mean, I didn't really care what you ate or how much of it that you ate. We used to laugh and joke. And even my nephew asked her one time, what did Javon ask you? Are you eating every 45?
45 minutes.
Every 45 minutes. But I mean, I didn't feel any type of way. I was glad that you were eating, and I was glad that we had basically made it through the hard time. And like I said, that was just at the point where I knew everything was gonna be alright.
Yeah, we made it through the hard times, and now we're sitting here with our beautiful baby. And it's funny, today is the day of last year, 2019, that we went and got our first ultrasound. And, she's our surprise baby. We told the ultrasound tech that we didn't want to know what the gender was until we gave birth. And when you looked at her head, I'll never forget it. You said, "That's a girl." And the whole time before, seeing the ultrasound, you was guessing a boy. And when you saw her head, you said, "That's a girl." And indeed, a beautiful, smart baby. And it's a girl.
And with all that being said, I just want to say thank everybody for listening. Until next time, we want to say peace from the Basket family. This is the Basket Way Podcast. Everybody be blessed.